Welcome. In this presentation, I'm going to give a general introduction to the concept of connectives. Connectives are those little symbols that you see all over the propositional statements. So, in order to explain what connectives are, I'm going to do the following. First, I'm going to explain something about the nature of propositional statements. Then, we're going to consider what it means for a propositional statement to be true or false. Once we've got that down, we can talk about the purpose of connectives. And then finally, I'll briefly identify the meaning of each of our 5 connectives. Let's start with propositional statements. What is the structure of it? What's it made up of? A propositional statement is a statement in propositional logic. It is always one of the following: a simple statement or a set of simple statements joined by connectives. Now let's talk about its function. Let's talk about what it does. A propositional statement tells you something about which sentences in a set of sentences are true or false. In other words, it tells you something about a set of sentences. You look at the possible combinations of true and false sentences in that set, and it tells you some of those are possible and others are definitely not. Now, I need to give a warning. A propositional statement does not necessarily tell you whether any particular simple sentence is true or false. It tells you something about which simple sentences in the set are true or false. But that may or may not be enough to determine whether any particular statement in the set is true or false. Let's look at an example. The pirate stole the gold, or the guards stole the gold. Well, what's going on here? Notice, this doesn't tell you whether the pirate stole the gold. It doesn't tell you whether the sentence, the pirate stole the gold, is true. And it doesn't tell you whether the sentence, the guard stole the gold, is true. It does tell you that at least one of those sentences is true. But based on this, you don't know which one it is. It could be one, it could be the other, it could be both. Right? So you can't tell whether either of them is true. You can't tell whether either of them is false. You do know that at least one of them is true, but you don't know which one. Here's another way to think about it. A propositional statement rules out certain possibilities with respect to the truth and falsity of the sentences in a set of sentences. That is, it rules out certain combinations of true and false sentences. Let's look at our example again. The pirate stole the gold, or the guard stole the gold. Notice here that we're dealing with 2 simple sentences. The pirate stole the gold, the guard stole the gold. Each of those sentences could be true or false, which means we've got 4 possibilities. The pirate stole the gold and the guard stole the gold. They're working together. The pirate stole the gold and the guards did not steal the gold. Those sneaky pirates got around the guards. The pirates did not steal the gold and the guards stole the gold. Right? Pirates haven't gotten there before the guards have taken care of the dirty work. Or the pirates didn't steal the gold and the guards didn't steal the gold. Maybe the captain outwitted all of them and stole the gold. Now, if we put this in terms of true and false sentences, we get the pirate stole the gold is true and the guard stole the gold is true. The pirate stole the gold is true and the guard stole the gold is false. The pirate stole the gold is false and the guard stole the gold is true, and the pirates stole the gold is false, and the guards stole the gold is false. Those are our 4 possible combinations of true and false sentences. So what does this sentence tell us? Right. Let me back up there a second. Those are our 4 possible combinations in general before we get to this statement. Now, once we make this statement, once we affirm this statement, we're going to be able to rule something out. That is, we're going to rule out the last option. That sentence, the pirate stole the gold or the guard stole the gold, tells us it's not the case that the pirates stole the gold is false and the guard stole the gold is false. Could be any one of the other possibilities. All the other possibilities are open, but that one is out. Now this brings us to a question. What does it mean for a propositional statement to be true? You may remember that when I talked about validity, I would talk about true and false propositional statements in the premises and conclusions. So what does this mean? It means that it makes a claim about which possibilities we can eliminate, and this statement is correct. So let's look at our friend, the pirate stole the gold, or the guard stole the gold. Is this true? Well, I haven't filled in the scenario enough to really tell. Right? Suppose that the pirates stole the gold when the guards weren't looking. Right? So the guards had nothing to do with it, and the pirates stole the gold. Well, in that case, we notice that the pirates stole the gold is true and the guards stole the gold is false. Right? That was one of the possibilities it left open. It's not one of the ones it eliminated. And so the statement would be true. Now, if the captain stole the gold when neither the pirates or the guards were looking, right, well, then that would mean that that last possibility, the pirates stole the gold is false and the guards stole the gold is false, matches up with the real world. That's one of the possibilities the statement's eliminated, so the statement would be false. This might be a little more clear if we look at something where we actually know the answer. George Washington is dead, or Martha Washington is dead. Well, in fact, George Washington is dead, and Martha Washington is dead. So George Washington is dead is true, and Martha Washington is dead is true. That is one of the possibilities that this statement leaves open. It's not the possibility that it eliminates. So the statement is true. Now, let me get to a vocabulary note. This is a term you don't see much in the book, but I think it's useful to think about. A propositional statement makes a claim about the possible combination of truth and falsity for a set of sentences. I am going to refer to the claim that it makes about the possible combinations of truth and falsity as its truth function. Now, connectives allow us to create a match between two things. What the original statement said about the possible combinations of truth and falsity in a particular set of sentences, and what a statement with sentence letters says about possible combinations of truth and falsity for a set of sentence letters. In other words, a match between the truth function of the sentence in regular English or other languages and the truth function of a statement with sentence letters. Let's look at an example. We have a connective called an ampersand. It is written like that, with that little squiggle that looks kind of like a treble clef. This allows us to express the idea both of these statements are true. Or you might say to express the truth function, both of these statements are true. So let's look at that with our old friends, the pirates and the guards. Here we have a propositional statement. The pirates stole the gold and the guards were napping. The formal translation is this. Dictionary. A, the pirates stole the gold. B, the guards were napping. Translation. A ampersand B. Now, remember what we said about possibilities. The word and is a way of saying both of these things are true. So the sentence, the pirates stole the gold and the guards were napping, says the only possibility is the pirates stole the gold is true and the guards were napping is true. All the other possibilities, pirates stole the gold is true and guards were napping is false. The pirates stole the gold is false and the guards were napping is true. The pirates stole the gold is false and the guards were napping is false. All those possibilities are eliminated. Only one remains. Now, this was our translation. Notice what A ampersand B does. It says sentence A is true and sentence B is true. That's the only possibility allowed. Second, third, and fourth possibilities, right? True, false, false, true, false, false. Those are all eliminated. It's the same thing. So A ampersand B does for A and B what the pirates stole the gold and the guards were napping did for the pirates stole the gold and the guards were napping. Okay. Same truth function. It's just that one was using English sentences and the other one was talking about sentence letters. So, something to remember. The point of translations is to figure out which arguments work just because of their form. With propositional logic, the form is a matter of the truth function of the statements, the premises and the conclusion. That is, it depends on what the premises and the conclusion say about which combinations of true and false sentences are possible and which ones are eliminated. So, we need a set of symbols that represents all statements with the same truth function in the same way. So let's look at that using examples. Here's the one we had before. The pirates stole the gold and the guards were napping. A, the pirates stole the gold. B, the guards were napping. A, ampersand B. We can do pretty much the same thing with there's an apple on the counter and an orange on the counter. Dictionary, A, there's an apple on the table, and B, there's an orange on the counter. A, ampersand B. Pigs have snouts and elephants have trunks. Dictionary, A, pigs have snouts. B, elephants have trunks. Translation, A, ampersand B. Alice and Cuthbert both work for the phone company. Now this one's a little tricky because you don't have two spelled out sentences, right? What you've got is Alice and Cuthbert, but we understand what that means. That means Alice works for the company and Cuthbert works for the phone company. So A, Alice works for the phone company. B, Cuthbert works for the phone company. Translation, A, ampersand B. So here's the point here. The connective ampersand represents the truth function of sentences with the word and. More to the point, it brings out the idea that we're saying that two statements are both true. But the ampersand with the sentence letters makes this point abstract. That is, independent of the specific statements involved in the English language sentence. Because the connective is abstract, it allows us to express what these statements have in common. The pirates stole the gold and the guards were napping. Pigs have snouts and elephants have trunks. Alice and Cuthbert both work for the phone company. All of these statements are making the claim these two simple sentences are true. And of course, this gets us back to the purpose of all of these translations. We're looking for a way to figure out whether a propositional argument is valid. So we need a way to figure out whether an argument works just because of the truth function of the premises and the conclusion. The only way that we can do that is if we have a way to represent the truth function of the premises and conclusion independent from the subject that the sentences are about. Just like we needed a way to represent subjects, predicates, middle terms independent of the specific categories we were dealing with in syllogisms. This brings us around to our 5 connectives. As it turns out, we can express the truth function of just about any premise or conclusion by using 5 connectives. Each of these connectives expresses a particular claim about the possible combinations of truth and falsity in a set of sentences. So here are the big 5. Wedge. At least one of these 2 statements is true, possibly both. Ampersand. The following 2 statements are both true. Biconditional or material biconditional. The following 2 statements are either both true or both false. Conditional or material conditional. It is not the case that the first statement is true and the second statement is false. Tilde. The following statement is false. Those are the 5 connectives. With those, you can actually express any truth function. Let me qualify that. You do need one additional tool. We have to use parentheses as well. That allows us to build complicated sentences, such as the ones I have there on the screen. Bottom line, each propositional statement expresses a truth function. A truth function is a claim about the combination of truth and falsity in a set of sentences. A translation allows us to express the truth function of a propositional statement independent of the particular sentences that it is talking about. Translations make it possible to check whether the argument is valid. That is, they make it possible to figure out whether it's possible for premises with these truth functions to be true, while a conclusion with this truth function is false. Translations use sentence letters as a replacement for sentences and connectives to represent the truth functions. That is what I have to say about connectives in general. I'll have separate videos that deal with the different connectives and what they mean. As always, if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to contact me by email or come see me in office hours.